Hello, chat. Hello, Twitch. All right. We'll be getting started in just a moment here. Give me a second. Okay, I think I am ready to jump on in here. Welcome aboard, everybody. So this is going to be the first of hopefully a series of me doing flight seeing adventures in Flight Simulator 2024. Today is part 1 of a journey across historic Route 66 across the U.S. from Chicago to Los Angeles. I will be doing it in the Cirrus SR-22T, which is my favorite light aircraft in this game. And the first thing we're gonna do is do our normal walk around. And see if anybody pops in to say hi while I'm doing this. Alright, walk around more or less complete. As far as I know, in career mode, or in free flight, as of right now, this doesn't do anything. But, I guess we'll find out the hard way. Alright, pre-flight. I like to go through all of my checklists, and this way I know everything's set up the way I want it before I'm in the air, which is what you want, generally speaking. So bear with me here. Parking brake. Set. Avionics off. Battery 2. Essential bus voltage okay. Battery 1. Okay. Check fuel. Check oxygen PSI. Turn the oxygen off, although it doesn't, I don't think it functions in this aircraft, but we're not going to be needing it anyway. Fuel quantity. Check. Fuel selector is on one of the tanks. Okay. And battery back off. Alternate static off. Circuit breakers are not functional in this aircraft. Okay. Flight planning. Here we go. I practiced this yesterday and had a bitch of a time with it, so we'll see if it actually loads my flight plan correctly. Okay, that looks correct. So I'm taking off from... Don't need that. Taking off from Merrill C. Meigs Airport or the late Merrill C. Meigs Airport in Chicago. It hasn't existed since the early 2000s, I think, but it's still lovingly rendered here in Flight Simulator for our enjoyment. Okay. Cabin door closed and locked. Parking brake is still set. Batteries on. Display, pump that up. All right. Nav lights, strobe lights. Power lever, full forward, mixture level, lever, full rich. Propeller area clear. Fuel pump to boost. Power lever just north of idle. Okay, ignition. Alright, engines fired. Okay, lean for max RPM. Down to idle. Okay, alternators on. Avionics on. Okay. Check engine synoptics. We have alternators functioning. Bus volts look normal. Oil pressure normal. All of this stuff looks okay. Temperatures are low because the engine just fired, but it'll get there. Everything looks okay. Alright. Fuel weight and balance. Okay, initial fuel, 95. Weight and balance. Put the pilot in here. We'll pretend I'm 180 pounds. And god damn it. Okay. There we go. Alright, confirm. Alright, that's our weight and balance set. Anti-ice is not going to be necessary for this flight. Just to amuse ourselves, we'll turn the fan on, we'll turn the airflow on. Flaps up. Okay. Altimeters are set to local QNH. Well, I got them set at 20. It's standard pressure, but that'll just, let's take that as red. Transponder. VFR squawk code and stand by. Anyone wants to know what these things are, feel free to leave a comment and I will address it. Where was I? Oh yeah, GPS. Set navigation to GPS. I guess this is the point at which I should load my flight plan. Send to ATC and Avionics. Okay, flight plan loaded correctly. Good. Good. Alright. Cool. Autopilot test.
Engaging autopilot.
Okay, disconnect. Pre-select autopilot. Mode. Alright. Autopilot mode pre-selected. Okay, PFD is set up the way I like it. The MFD is set up the way I like it. Flight control check. Give it a second to load in here. Please load. Okay. Rudder. Right, left. Okay. Roll left. Roll right. Pitch up. Pitch down. Okay. Flight controls look good. Elevator set for takeoff. Okay. Trim. It's about where it should be. Alright. Nav lights on. Parking brake. Release. Let's taxi to the runway. Hello! Hello, Will, and hello, Lisa Jean. I am doing good. I am real excited to be showing this. Hello again, Will. Real excited. We are about to take off from the no longer extant in real life Meigs Field just outside downtown Chicago, but it has been lovingly preserved in Flight Simulator, and it's very close to the starting point of this, so that's where we're starting from. So, whoops, parking brake. Okay, quick engine run up and final procedure check here. Mixture full rich, power lever to about 1700 RPM. All right, engine. Okay, pitot heat. Check. Landing lights. Check. Okay, ignition test. Right side. Left side. Both. I play a bunch of different stuff. I've become kind of a dad gamer recently and mostly do flight and driving games. Make of that what you will. Been playing a lot of Forza Horizon recently. I'm excited to try the new Bond game very soon. Altimeter sets. Okay, GPS set. Transponder. Altitude reporting. Autopilot pre-select. P2 heat on. Flaps. So takeoff position. Alright. Mixture lever full rich. Fuel pump boost. Okay. Switched fuel tanks. Yeah, very cool. I'm looking forward to playing the Bond game as well. I just am cheap, but I'm probably going to buy it. So this is actually, so Lisa Jean, this is actually my first stream in a very long time. And as for schedule, if this goes well going forward, I'm hoping to do this Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7. Like I said, this is my first one in a while. Okay, and somebody else is suggesting there are AI viewers here. Well, it is what it is. I'm new to this. Figure it out as we go. Alright, so very quick passenger briefing before we get started here. This flight today is going to be covering the first 350-ish miles of Route 66 going from Chicago to just past St. Louis, Missouri. I have notes here with all kinds of tourist information and stuff. Very beginning of this flight's going to be a quick loop of the sites around downtown Chicago. It's going to be coming by very fast, so just bear with me. Alright. And we are ready for takeoff, methinks. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Now let's see if this glitches out on the runway, because that has happened to me recently. Okay, takeoff roll. And we are off the ground. All right. All right, so this is Mixed Field. I forget what the name of the park is now, but it's been turned into a park in the last couple years. Throttle back a little bit here. Okay. That's the Adler Planetarium there, and we have the Shed Aquarium and the Field Museum of Natural History to our left there. Thank you. Thank you, chatters. Here we go. I believe this is Grant Park on the right here, and then we have the Art Institute of Chicago, as made famous by Ferris Bueller, and obviously a lot of other famous paintings exist here. Hi, Vias. Here's Millennium Park. There's Cloud Gate, otherwise known as the Bean, and the Great Concert Hall. Very cool place.
500.
Okay, there's the Chicago River, and up ahead is the Miracle Mile on Michigan Avenue. Famous shopping district. And we have the very distinctive looking John Hancock Center directly ahead of us. And I'm going to try not to crash into it. Loop around to the, not that steep, and make a loop around to the right here over Lake Michigan. Did I track my flaps? This plane is a little fast for this kind of thing, but it will get us there in a hopefully safe and timely manner. Alright, this is Navy Pier, which, if you want to call it a tourist trap, I wouldn't be offended. But it's got some amusement park rides, mini golf, shopping, restaurants, etc. Okay, so the beginning of historic Route 66 is on Jackson Avenue. It's coming right up. So this is it. This is Jackson Avenue here. It was formerly on Jackson Avenue, and then Jackson Avenue Avenue became a one-way street going east. So now the beginning of Route 66, if you were going west, is up here on Adams Avenue. And the Sears/Willis Tower, the formerly tallest building in America, and the tallest building in America outside of New York City. Okay, I'm not turning the autopilot on and stop fussing around here and stop almost crashing into things. So directly below us is Chicago, and we are going to be following Route 66 out of the city. For most of this stretch, for most of the immediate stretch, it's going to be Route 66 is going to be paralleling the well, no, actually, no, not in Chicago. Lisa Jean, if you are interested in doing some work, I mean, if the channel takes off, I'd certainly accept some art suggestions. But you know, early days here, so we'll see how this goes first. How's everyone else doing? Now that I'm outside of the city, I can slow down a little bit here. Or outside of downtown, I can slow down a little bit here. We're crossing over Douglas Park directly ahead. Anybody have any... How is the game audio versus my voice? Should I... Anyone have any comment on whether or not I should be adjusting one or the other? Okay, good. Everyone says I'm okay. Alright, so this is the neighborhood of Cicero outside Chicago. It was famous in the 30s as sort of a 20s and 30s as sort of a gangster hideout. I believe people like Al Capone used to haunt these neighborhoods. Now we've also got this massive Santa Fe Railroad intermodal transit facility. Real exciting stuff if you're into trains, I guess. I've been doing some stuff with trains for something I'm planning on doing upcoming, and boy, train people are something else. Alright, so we got a little bit of flying to my next point of interest. So that thunderstorm today was something else. I'm not surprised there's a lot of outages in the area. I'm happy I have power, because boy, it seems like that goes out a lot when there's outages. Is everyone having a good night so far? I'm gonna bump the power a little bit here. Got a little ways to the next point of interest. Speed up a little bit. And switch fuel tanks. Like many light aircraft, the Cirrus SR-22 has fuel tanks in the left wing and the right wing, and you have to manually switch between them to keep the airplane balanced. Yeah, it's disgusting outside. It's been alternating between it's been alternating between disgusting and thunderstorm today, basically, which is yeah, real delightful. Yeah. So I guess I'll talk a little bit, I guess for lack of anything else going on at the moment, I'll talk a little bit about the history of Route 66 as my knowledge of it is. This was first created when the U.S. numbered highway system was introduced in 1926. This was one of the original routes, one of the first country routes, and in the 50s and 60s, as the interstates started to get built, Route 66 eventually sort of fell out of favor in favor of the interstates that doubled much of its route. For instance, right now, I-55 is doubling what used to be Route 66. And basically, as of 1985, Route 66 doesn't formally exist anymore, but because of its cultural cachet, we have it's become a popular thing for road trips. There are historical societies and museums all over the place for this. There's a lot of towns that basically live and die on Route 66 tourism, etc. To the south, we have a research facility. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but there's a big research facility and a particle accelerator. This is not Fermilab, which is a much bigger one, but that's farther northeast of here, if I remember correctly. So the first real claim to fame of Route 66, back during its early years, was in the 30s during the Dust Bowl. During the Dust Bowl, when people were leaving the Central Plains states, a lot of destitute farmers followed Route 66 to California, where they were hoping to find new jobs. It was during this period where it was coined with the moniker the Mother Road by John Steinbeck in The Grapes of Wrath. Not an uplifting read, but in the years after World War II, U.S. had a big economic boom, lots of nostalgia, lots of people had cars and disposable money, and the Route 66 road trip became a bit of an institution during then. In 1946, Nat King Cole recorded "Get Your Kicks on 66," which is the iconic Route 66 song, of course. yeah, it's been sort of immortalized ever since. Alright, here in Lockport Township, we have Lewis University, which I don't know much about, but they have their own airfield, and that's pretty cool, if I do say so myself. So here's the first of a few times we're going to be deviating from following the road itself. Like any good road trip, part of the fun is getting sidetracked. And actually, it turns like I didn't know this before getting started setting this thing up, but there's lots of alternate routes, or there's like a lot of historic alternate routes and detours that popped up over time. So it's actually following every single mile of Route 66, just not doable. So we'll be having some improvisation here, or well, not some improvisation with the route. I actually planned this all out in advance. Look, so I've got, if for no other reason than I have interesting tidbits to tell you over the whole way there. Keep everybody's attention. We're slowing down because we're hitting slowing down a little bit because we're hitting the first major town past Chicago, Joliet, Illinois. Among other things, among other points of interest here, we have the old Joliet prison as seen in Blues Brothers, and probably other stuff too. But one of the oldest standing penitentiaries in the United States, although it's been out of use for some time, probably for the best. It's the first of many Route 66 parks over here on the other side of the river. And there's downtown Joliet, Illinois. All right. Moving right along. There is the Chicagoland Speedway used by NASCAR, IndyCar. I assume. I'm not series I follow, but they're, you learn very quickly what racetracks look like from the air if you do this. Distribution centers, you learn what those look like from the air. Can't speak for the rest of the world, but at least for Europe, or at least for America, you learn very quickly what high schools look like from the air, because there's always a building and a football field, and maybe baseball. Usually baseball, but there's always a building and a football field, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's a high school. Okay, I am not sure. not sure if this is legible on the screen, but I'm aiming for about 2.5 hours. I was aiming for about 2.5 hours of flight time with this route, so that gives you an idea of where we are at. Actually, let me pull up the map. Let me pull up my map here. That's not it. Here we go. All right, just don't mind all the visual noise, but yeah. So this is where we are along the trip so far. Chicago is about here. I think St. Louis is like here. Something. Does this actually show anything useful? No, it doesn't. No, it's just fucking blinding. Okay. Beautiful. Alright, we're going back to the satellite map. Hello, Feathers. How are you doing? Since you're just getting here, what I am doing right now is I am doing a journey of sorts down Route 66. Let me pull up. Okay, let me see if I can find. So the next point of interest here is in Wilmington, Illinois, and we probably won't be able to see it from the air, but I will pull up a picture of it in a moment here. The Gemini Giant, the first of many 20-something foot, 20 or so foot tall fiberglass statues advertising stuff on Route 66. Pull this guy up here. Yeah, there he is, the Gemini Giant. During the heyday of Route 66, lots of people, lots of businesses were competing for drivers' attention, and well, it reached a point where simply putting up a billboard or a piece of art or whatever wasn't enough. So we got these big fiberglass giants. There are lots of them. Coming on various points on Route 66. That is merely the first we're going to see. In fact, there is an entire museum of these guys coming up. But, obviously not going to be visiting that from inside the airplane. Much as I would like to. It's not that giant of a giant. Well, I mean, if you're gonna be negative about it, then I can't help you. So, Feathers, are you at home or on the road currently? Let me pull there. Oh boy, 3 days. Well, I'm happy you're at least getting some time at home. Been a busy man. Alright, so here in Gardner, Illinois, we once again rejoin Interstate 55. Yeah. If you feel like cursing the interstate for the death of a number of roads, you can, but, you know, Interstate's an improvement in most ways. It's just also boring. Let me see, what's our next point of interest? Okay. Yeah, so for people who weren't here at the beginning of this, the plane I am using is a Cirrus SR-22T, which is a relatively new light aircraft. Uses a Continental 6-cylinder horizontally opposed aircraft engine, turbocharged. Produces something like 315 horsepower. Is honestly a little fast for a little faster than ideal for flight seeing, in my opinion. But you know, it's a very capable aircraft. It's got almost 1,000 miles of range, and you know, if you do want to go fast, then that's a good thing. Or if you do want to go fast, then it does that, and that's good. Currently, I don't know how legible the UI or the HUD is on the stream, but we are doing 163 knots. Because airplanes have to be weird and use nautical miles instead of real miles, or instead of real distances, and that's just confusing for everybody. Okay, this is the city of Dwight, Illinois, and in what was a tiny village at the time, was built Ambler's Texaco Station, which is still to this day 92-year-old gas station. I believe it is roughly hereabouts. And the vintage gas stations look more like houses with a gas pump in front of them than they are like the sort of corporate gas station thing you're used to now. So that's a good roadside attraction should you end up doing this in real life. Feathers. Yes, I believe most of the rest of the world uses metric units. Although I think a lot of stuff is based on American nautical navigation stuff because the U.S. sort of invented and to some extent standardized air travel. We got to make the rules for it say what you will about the federal government, the FAA's like sort of the FAA and especially the NTSB are sort of the gold standard of international transportation agencies, in my opinion. I have minor beef with the FAA because they are never going to allow me to actually fly a plane with my medical history, but you know, that's life. Let's see. Gotta switch the fuel tanks every so often. Actually, it's funny you should mention the other countries. So there was a French aviator who I think like within a couple months of the Wright's flight had invented his own airplane and at some point laid claim to having invented a heavier than air aircraft. And indeed, I don't remember the full story off the top of my head, but Wilbur Wright pissed away much of the later half of his life on copyright suits involving airplanes. So there you go. Meanwhile, the Wright brothers got largely overtaken in the technology department, or as far as aircraft tech went. Okay, we are approaching Pontiac, Illinois, which has some more fun roadside kitsch coming up. Pontiac, of course, a Native American chief. There's lots of Pontiacs in various parts of the U.S. As a native of the Detroit area, when I think Pontiac, I think Oakland County. But here we got another one. Anywho, in Pontiac, Illinois, you will find the Route 66 Association of Illinois Hall of Fame and Museum. The first of many, many, many roadside museums we're going to come across here. And it is in downtown Pontiac by the train tracks. It's sort of zigzag past largely. It's over there somewhere. Pontiac also notable for a number of large public murals. I don't have pictures of any of them handy, but just taking an assumption they're there. All right, and that combination of waypoints caused my caused the autopilot to just completely give up there on navigation for a second. All right. So right here it says no acrobatic maneuvers including spins approved. Okay, I'll do a loop. I will do a loop. Give me a second. I'll do a loop just for you guys, and if we crash and ruins this whole stream, then here we go. Get some speed. Are you happy?
Engaging autopilot.
What did you mean, like? All right, well, I guess we got to stay entertained somehow here. Oh, well, I don't think that... I don't think... Something tells me that the models... that what's in Flight Simulator are not going to be that detailed, unfortunately. You're better off Google Street Viewing. Yeah, hey, sometimes there are some limitations to what I can show off in this game. Yeah, they should have hired they should have hired more artists to do mural textures. They should have hired the artist that did should have hired whatever poor soul at Nintendo was responsible for rendering Link's toes in the Ocarina of Time trailer. No comment. I think what people are fixating on the fact that this is a game that's coming out this year and all they did was show like weirdly realistic Link render and nothing else. I'm excited, like... Yeah, I mean, it's Ocarina of Time. It would be very hard for them to fuck that up. Um, I disagree. Okay, Vias, I'm gonna say that, like, I'm not gonna defend Nintendo as a business because there's a lot they do that's indefensible. I think as a game publisher, they are the most consistently polished. They don't release crap. Yeah. Anyway, I don't think it's unreasonable for them to release another version of Ocarina of Time now because Ocarina of Time 3DS is now older than the is now older than Ocarina of Time 60 and 64 was when the 3DS game came out. Furthermore, that the well, I consider the 3DS version sort of the more definitive version of the game. Um, it's been locked in the 3DS, or it's been locked in the 3DS vault. So there you go. I mean, Nintendo could just, release Ocarina of Time 3D on the Switch. That'd be something that a sensible business would do. Yeah, it's been 15 years. Oh, cool. I would play Ship of Harkinian, Archipelago. Also, very important thing. There, the person who made the Beatles and Ocarina of Time soundtrack has released it, or has released a mod for Ship of Harkinian. So you can now use the Beatles in Ocarina of Time as the soundtrack to Ocarina of Time. That's very important. Okay, here we have the twin cities of Normal and Bloomington, Illinois. Um, Normal is home to Illinois State University. I don't have much else. Wait, is that what I think it is? Hold on. Let me look this up real quick. No, that's not. Never mind. Anyway. Okay, yeah, Will, I I'm expecting to still be at this for another hour and a half, we'll say. So I will hopefully see you later. And if I don't, then it was very good talking to you regardless. See, this is an example of what I said about high schools. Baseball field, football field, track, building. Can always tell. Wilmington's got this nice Main Street business district with these two roads going down. They're both one way, and the traffic, the in-game simulated traffic, is not reflecting that. So that's a -1. That's a -1 Microsoft. What else is easy? Other like common things that are easy to tell. Distribution centers, big one-story building with a huge parking lot outside. It's really easy to tell. Quarries, you see a lot of those. We passed a few earlier. There's probably more coming up that I don't specifically remember. But what else? Racetracks. Racetracks you get used to. Lisa, I will get back to you closer to the end of this, or like when I'm done flying, because this is taking up a lot of my attention right now. You know what? Maybe I can do this. We're in the middle of nowhere. Such is the nature of this, at least later on. At least when we get to the... Should this last long enough that we get to the west, there will be interesting terrain to look at, but like... Illinois isn't famous for natural landmarks, really. Alright, so as the flight simulator is pointing out right now, we are flying over Funk's Grove, which is a big maple syrup manufacturer, or like boutique maple syrup manufacturer, orchard. Yeah, it's a roadside place you can go to if you're feeling so inclined. I wish that I had better map anything than this, but okay. Yeah, let's just blind you or this. Wait, hold up. Actually, I got Navigraph. I could use that. Is that better? I don't know. Is it going to let me do this? Maybe not. Alright, never mind. Well, the good thing about flying is that one, autopilot's a thing, and two, there's somewhat less things to crash into. Okay, Atlanta, Illinois. This is home to the American Giants Museum, where more of those fiberglass giants, like the Gemini giant that we saw earlier, is. Can be seen. Sorry, those Discord alerts were all me. I have... Sorry about that. What's next? We're approaching... We're getting close to... Ooh. So let me see. To me earlier. Tried to street view something, and there's nothing to see here. Hello. Hello, Remalicious. Yes, so, yeah, if you, so since you just got here, what I'm doing is that this is the first part of a trip following the length of Route 66, of historic Route 66, from Chicago to Los Angeles. Yeah, you missed me buzzing some of Chicago's most famous skyscrapers in ways that are probably not approved by the FAA. Yeah. I mean, I don't, can't speak to much of it myself. Or, I think Chicagoland's the only part of Illinois I've been to, so can't speak to much of it myself. We are approaching the land of Lincoln, such as it is, horse racetrack. There's, well, yeah, there you go. There's Lincoln, Illinois. We're getting close to Springfield. Another, like, 20 miles, something like that. Yeah, oh yeah, so there is a national parks update. It's funny because I made the decision. I'm like, okay, you know what? This week is the week I am going to start streaming Flightsim. I've been thinking about it for a while, and I'm like, this week is the week I'm finally going to do it. I'm going to start doing a Flightseeing tour, and then they're like, oh, if you wait another month, there'll be a big update of the American scenery. And it's like, God damn it. But yeah, you know, there's plenty of time. I have plans. I have more plans past this. I mean, this sort of sequence right now that I have planned. This is just to test the water, sort of. If the stream takes off, or like if you know, this goes well enough that I decide to keep doing it. Oh, everything's already in there. They just presumably they're just updating the scenery, updating the art, I guess, or maybe making it more detailed. But yeah, all those places are like the whole world is in the game to some extent. It's just how much of it is handcrafted and at what level of detail. And anyway, so what I was so after I finished doing a Route 66 adventure, my one something I want to do is, and I've gotten a lot of this planned out. I just wanted to didn't want it to necessarily be my first stream, is to replicate the 1911 flight of Cal Rogers across the United States. He was the first person to fly across the United States in an airplane. And so I want to recreate that. I've done dozens of hours of research on this that nobody asked me to. And yeah, so I'm going to recreate it in the closest equivalent airplane that's available in the sim right now, which is a World War I era Curtiss JN4. So that's something to look forward to. But yeah, I'll talk more about that when we get there. But it is a pretty interesting, like, there's a pretty interesting, interesting story. Although he's not one of the, like, of the people of the pioneer of flight era. He's not the most well remembered, but the story is actually very interesting. Gonna try, like, again, I'm gonna try to do this in a World War I era aircraft to make it more challenging for myself. Whereas this plane basically flies itself. But okay, we are about at the halfway point of the route I had planned out for today. The range on this is about is 900 nautical miles, or about 950 normal miles. The distance of the whole of Route 66 is about 2,400 miles. I'm planning on doing this in 6 parts, or like I'm aiming to do this in about 6 parts, about 400 miles per segment or per stream, because I feel like that's a length that'll keep people from keep things from getting too boring. We are approaching Springfield, and here is Carpenter Park to the northwest of Springfield. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, we're good. All right. Up ahead, we have the Illinois State Fairgrounds. Which, you guessed it, has a Route 66 mini museum attached to it. Right down here, there's a little outdoor park that has like a miniature, all kinds of, basically all of the Route 66 ephemera in miniature. And also 2 racetracks. So that's a good job, Illinois. All right, Lincoln's tomb is over here in the what's it called? Oak Ridge Cemetery. I believe that this here is where he's interred. Now, we're gonna blast past a few. God damn it! Where'd my plane go? Okay, we're gonna blast past a few landmarks real quick. So first we have the Lincoln Presidential Museum and Library, right there. The Illinois State Capitol Building. Lincoln Historical Park with his original home. And yeah, again, this airplane's like it's a little too. Where is the fucking autopilot? Okay. Oh, the autopilot's gonna loop around. All right. This airplane's too fast for like this sort of very short segment things. Okay, I was slightly wrong. Okay, the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum and Library is this building here. It's this building here, and the old state capitol, i.e., when Lincoln was the governor of Illinois, is this building here. And the current Capitol building is this one. And there's also this thing that I don't know what that is. It's certainly very noticeable. Alright, so Springfield's other claim to fame is that Springfield, Illinois is the place where the most American of treats, the corn dog, was invented. Right down, roughly here at the Cozy Dog Drive-In. Note that if you go to the Cozy Dog Drive-In, it's called a Cozy Dog and not a corn dog. But that's it. There's your Americana right there. That's Americana in a bottle right there. Okay, now, between Springfield and St. Louis, Route 66 has like 3 or 4 different alternate routes. I'm gonna be like... I assume you can't get a Cozy Dog... You know what? Let's find out. I got nothing better to do. Let's Google Cozy Dog Drive-In. It's not like I'm flying a plane or anything. Menu. Does not look like you can get a Cozy Dog, Chicago style. It's too God damn it! I just want to see the picture. Alright, here's some charming pictures of the Cozy Dog Drive-In. If I can find the correct window. Yeah, there we go. Those dogs cozy enough for you? Oh wait, it didn't actually do it, did it? Hold on. Alright, there we are. There's some cozy dogs. I am not familiar with Korean-style hot dogs. Why do I suspect they've got something really gross on them? Or, well, something that I would find off-putting on them. Right. So here's a section. This sort of curved this section right here of Route 66 is brick is paved with or still has the original bricks that it was paved with in the 20s. That is about half a mile there of brick road. You can actually sort of make out that the texture is different in the satellite image, for what that's worth. Oh, okay. I mean, if Korean corn dogs are, I'll take the Korean hot dog. If you say they're good, I'll trust you on that. I've seen horrifying things about Korean pizza, though, so that's why I'm sort of on guard about that. I know Korean chicken's real good. I wish I could get the friggin' flight plan up here. What is this? Is this it? Oh god, I should not have done that. Oh, there we go. So this old section, this is an older section of Route 66, and it follows, it kind of zigzags a whole lot because it's following, or it's sort of zigzagging around various people's property. These are presumably, this is probably based on roads that already existed before the highway was commissioned. That is not knowledgeable. Okay. All right, another example of something you can sort of tell when you're flying through the air. This looks like it's an old railway grade that doesn't. I'm guessing isn't used anymore because you can't see the tracks themselves, but just the way there's like all this particular lightly curved line of undeveloped land. Okay, here's another novelty coming up. Right near an intersection, there is a little bit of road coming up where, when they paved the road, a turkey walked through the wet concrete, and the tracks are still there. So nice little novelty. That is the nice. I guess if there's anything nice I can say about Route 66 is that every single piece of novelty or kitsch is cataloged somewhere. I did not mean to close that. Let's take a look at my notes here. Well, they tell you not to fly if you're tired, and narcolepsy is one of the things you can have your medical you can be refused a medical permit for. So, yeah. I think the other thing is that in real life, especially on a light aircraft like this, the ride's a little bit bumpier than this makes it look. Actually, we're getting a little bit of turbulence right now. When this simulator was new, it used to fucking, like, air currents. Light aircraft would get fucking jostled all over the place by air currents, and I think it's a little bit better now, but I assume that can't have been realistic, or planes would be constantly falling out of the sky. Of course, I don't know. Still have never been in a light aircraft. Anyway, for commercial things, that's one of the reasons a lot of commercial one of more than a few reasons that a lot of commercial flights require 2 pilots. Speaking of 2 pilots, I don't know if... God damn it. All I did was close the thing. Okay, we're back. I don't know if... I don't know. We haven't been alone this whole time! This is you. This is you, chat. This is you. Haha. Anyway. I've had my fun. Alright, I don't have anything interesting to say about where we are right now, but we are going to be switching from one alignment, from one historic alignment of 66 to another, so let's... where we're going to be going east for a minute. Yeah, I'm not gonna change. I'm not gonna screw with this mid-flight, but you can actually add passengers and stuff, and then you get this really fucking gormless AI person in the back seat. So day one, so they added a career mode to this, and day one I tried it out, and it was a Flightseeing thing, and you had this gormless ass passenger in your back seat telling you to fly over I chose Ann Arbor as my home thing because for some reason I couldn't pick Pittsburgh. Then there's this gormless ass person in the back telling me to fly over some warehouse in their hometown that they were all excited about for some reason, and it was the most obvious AI slop voice ever, and I was just like, okay, I'm never doing career mode again. How often do I play this in VR? Well, so until I got my graphic, I'm like not confident it's going to run well, or I wasn't confident it was going to run well in VR until I got my current graphics card, and I just haven't gotten around to trying it yet. I need to figure out, there is a way to mask out parts of the VR image so that you can see actually see what's in front. You can see like your actual desktop or whatever, and I need to figure out how to mask that out so I can still see my controls, because I've got a giant yoke in front of me right now in a throttle quadrant, etc. Yeah. On a more somber note, here is a Union miner cemetery with a monument to Illinois coal miners who were part of the unionization fight that happened in this place. Read up on the history. If you read up on the history of mining, it's always been the worst fucking job in the world, and miners had to work very hard for what they did. And so there's a little memorial to them there, including one of the most famous of this region's unionization leaders, the Mother Jones. The magazine's named after, etc. That's Mount Olive. Alright, we're getting close to St. Louis. About 2/3 of the way there. And when we get properly close to St. Louis, I'm going to start okay, another 20 miles, maybe. When we get close to St. Louis, I'm going to start a big deviation from following the route specifically. We're going to go do some more sightseeing. So, how's everybody doing? How's everybody holding up? No motion sickness. Anybody need to get out the? Well, anybody need the pee bottle? Afraid there are no lavatories here, so yeah. Good news is, okay, it's going to be longer than that, but about 45 minutes left, I would say. Unfortunately, Unfortunately, getting out of a plane that's in the air is a bit more complicated than pulling over. Um, It can be incredibly simple, you're right, getting out of a moving plane, but you're not going to have a good time. Alright, again, I'm not sure how well this is coming through on the stream with the bitrate and that, but you're getting to the point where you can just about make out St. Louis from the air. Alright, so I guess I'll get started on introducing what's coming up. So there are a number of crossings over the Mississippi River that Route 66 has followed at different times in its history. The northernmost of these is the Chain of Rocks Bridge, which was in use from 1929 to 1968. And was notorious for a 30-degree kink in the middle, which was put in so that boats could avoid its pier. Sorry, try to get up close to it. Close enough that I can actually see the damn thing. I'll get start to fly lower. Okay, it'll just about make out downtown St. Louis. That way. It's a little hazy. here ahead of us we have Shoto Island. Shoto Island. I think Shoto Island. It's an artificial island created by this shipping canal here. So bypass the Mississippi's flood controls, I believe. That's why that's there. Okay, so up directly ahead of us we have the new chain of rocks bridge, which I-270 uses to cross the Mississippi River. But to the south of that, just starting to become visible. Oh, it's not rendered. Son of a bitch. Well, so there's a bridge there. There's a bridge right here, and it's you can't drive a car on it these days, but there's footpaths, etc. Do I have information about any of the other bridges? Because that is important. Possibly. No. Okay, well. Jamie, do you see yourself, or Feathers, do you see yourself returning to streaming at any time in the immediate future, or the foreseeable future? Because you should definitely get your own F. Maybe I should get my own F. Alright, directly ahead of us we have the Cahokia Mounds State Historic Site. This was the site of a... This was the site of a city built by, I guess what in the Americas counts as prehistoric First People civilization. It peaked in the 12th century, at which time there were more people living here than there were in London. This is the tallest of the earthworks, which is over 100 feet tall, or about 100 feet tall. Not too much is known about the people who live there. Well, Mississippians. Okay. Take your word for it. You were just there, after all. Hello again, Will. Ah, F in chat for that. Um. Anyway, it's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which you know, there aren't that many of those in the U.S. All right, I am going to be flying manual for a little while here. Yeah, there is a certain amount of facetiousness in Jamie's statement there, but well, you did miss the turkey tracks. You know, Illinois wasn't a complete bust. Oh yeah, you missed the corn. You missed the cozy dogs. Yeah, there is a little piece of here. Actually, I can pop this back up. I think. No, I can't. No, I can't. I've changed the thing. Anyway, there is a there's a little piece of Route 66 where when they were doing the pavement for it, a turkey decided to walk through, and the tracks remain there to this day. I showed pictures of it, and I can't pull it up now. So, apologies. God damn it. Why do iPads have to be stupid? They did not render that in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I just pulled up a picture from Google. Okay, so here we go. There's like 4 bridges in a row that were used by Route 66 at various points in its history. This is the McKinley Bridge here, opened in 1910. It's actually closed to traffic now, I believe. No, actually, so they closed it and then reopened it, is my recollection. But that one's only open to local traffic. It's just not big enough to sustain full highway stuff. Up ahead we have the Veterans Memorial Bridge. That is used by I-70 crossing the Mississippi River currently. Alright, we have the Martin Luther King Bridge. And the Eads Bridge, both mostly consigned to local traffic these days. And then finally, the Poplar Street Bridge, which is used by I-55, and the MacArthur Bridge, which is used by rail. And now we're going to do something that it is mandatory. If you're going to go to St. Louis in Flight Simulator, it is absolutely mandatory that you do what I'm about to do. So bear with me. East St. Louis. Less said about it, the better, probably. Alright, here we are. Woohoo! Okay. To our left is Busch Stadium, where the Cardinals play. There's the downtown promenade.
Engaging autopilot.
500.
Memorial Plaza, the Enterprise Center. Oh, very cool. Very cool, Feathers. It's always cool to see someplace you've been. I have never been to St. Louis in real life. Okay, right about here, right at this intersection, actually, we have the Neon Museum, which it's a very Americana Route 66 thing to do. Our next highlight is Forest Park, which is actually quite dense with places to go. Very rapid succession, we have the St. Louis Science Center here on the left. Municipal Theater, St. Louis Municipal Theater, or Municipal Amphitheater, I guess. Missouri Historical Museum and Golf Link, the St. Louis Zoo, which it says here St. Louis. I don't know if that's actually correct or not. I'll take their word for it. And the St. Louis Art Museum. So there's everything you need. How's my fuel doing? Switch tanks. And right here at this intersection coming up in southwest St. Louis, we have Ted Drew's, a 97-year-old ice cream and custard parlor. Family owned, every city should have one. 10 out of 10. No notes. So from about this neighborhood on, the most of Route 66 in Missouri is concurrent with the current Interstate 44, as seen. Got a couple more. I'm a little over 30 miles from where I'm landing. We're about 35 miles from where I'm landing, but we got a couple more noteworthy points of interest first. I am going to be having an Italian ice when I am done here because I am starting to think I'm thinking I'm starting to become lactose intolerant. Sorry to say. Okay, so we got a Frank Lloyd Wright house right about there. And then outside of that, we have the National Museum of Transportation, which has a rail yard, a whole bunch of vintage locomotives, vintage planes, vintage cars, etc. It all sounds pretty good. It sounds less good than the Henry Ford, but most places aren't. So, most places, it's very hard to be as good as the Henry Ford. So, yeah. This actually because I need to be able to see this when I land and whenever the game catches up. Okay. What's my fuel look like? Alright. More planes should be able to manage their own goddamn fuel. Oh well. Coming up ahead on the right side, or on the north side of I-44 is Route 66 State Park. How original. It's getting a bit masturbatory at that point, but much more interesting. Just on the other side of the Merrimack River, Yeah, the Merrimack River is a ghost town called Times Beach. It was a little hamlet, basically a cheap 19th. It was basically a interwar housing development. In the 70s, Times Beach hired a contractor to cover the town's roads in oil, which is a standard thing to seal roads in the boonies. But unfortunately, the oil that they used to seal the things had a bunch of dioxins in it, and the town had to be evacuated. The place was turned into a Superfund site, and the town was eventually razed. Right here, Times Beach. There's a playground there now. Make of that what you will. And up ahead we have Six Flags St. Louis. Not to my understanding one of the top tier Six Flags parks, but beggars can't be choosers, I guess. I like that the roller coasters are just sort of painted onto the ground. I don't know which Six Flags that old man was doing that crazy dancing at. It might have been this one. I don't know. Okay. To the north here we have a huge silica quarry. And roughly here is the Red Cedar Inn, which was for a long time, or which was a post-prohibition bar, apparently a favorite haunt of members of the St. Louis Cardinals. Make of that what you will. I am going to start about 10. A little bit over 10 miles out, so yeah, I don't have much else for the don't have much else as far as the tour goes, but I picked not the easiest runway to land at, so you get to watch, so hopefully that's entertaining. Fuel pumps boost. Tank more or less balanced. Anti-ice is required. Landing lights on. Next full. Throttle back. Which horrible monster is Bill Skarsgård not? There's so many. He's been so many over the years, you know? I think, Feathers, I believe we're going to be going west of the Ozarks. I mean, so we got actual terrain here in Missouri, unlike Illinois, but I don't think we're going to see much. We're not going to get to the interesting stuff until we're through Texas, unfortunately. Touchdown. All right. Real wobbly on the brakes, but I don't. That's just how this plane is. Nice clean landing. I'll take that. Okay. Parking brake. Lights off. Anti-ice off. Fuel pump off. Oxygen off. Power idle mixer. Avionics. Alternator. Ignition. Battery. Alright! How about that? Okay, and now because this is Flight Simulator 2024, I can get out of the airplane. Whee, I can walk around. Yay. Oh no, the person's disappeared. How could that happen? How could you do this to me, Microslop? Yeah, actually, I mean, you do... I can show you, Here, I will... Let me show you. Let me show you why you need to taxi for half an hour when you go to O'Hare. Actually, you know what? It'd be easier. Boy, this is a well optimized program. All right. Okay. Whenever this catches up with me here, maybe. All right, flights. First of all, I think the large part of this, the reason this is lagging is because okay. What's O'Hare's call sign? Is it just KCHI? Or, oh, it's KORD. That's right. Or better yet. Okay. This is why you have to taxi for half an hour when you go to O'Hare. You see all this shit? You see all this shit? That's why O'Hare is the most overbuilt fucking airport. um yeah. I have nothing else to add here. Um hello hello Ash. I'm afraid you've basically missed the stream. I'm wrapping up at the moment, but thanks for coming along. Hope you're having a nice night otherwise. So yeah, so that was the first so that was the first leg of it. It was the first leg of this trip, Chicago to St. Louis. Um next leg Next leg will be going from just past St. Louis where we landed to Tulsa, Oklahoma is where I'm planning on finishing that. Thank you, Ash. Appreciate it. I will be doing, assuming I have everything together, that I'm aiming for Tuesday at 7 o'clock. If I don't have everything together by Tuesday, then it'll be Thursday. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this. And I will see you on the next flight. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.